Hello, and welcome to the Mammal Musings YouTube channel. I'm Hump, and I'm a middle-aged man in Lycra. This channel is about cycling, travel, tech, and whatever else tickles my fancy. All the products you see here were bought by me. There are no affiliate links, and everything has been selected based on my research and curiosity. If I mention a product name or a website, that's because I believe in it, not because I'm getting anything from them. Today, we're going to discuss why traveling with a bike sucks. Now, I didn't say by or on, I said with. Once you're on the bike, it's great, but getting there can be a real pain in the ass. Let's talk about why that is and how to make it better. In this video, I'll cover bike cases. Sure, there are lots of other videos on YouTube about this topic, but I'm pretty sure that this is the only one hosted by an actual airline employee. I know firsthand how bikes go on planes, the challenges of escalators, elevators, buses, taxis, and tiny hotel rooms. I'm going to go into more depth about how to do it. This is not a quick gloss over on a list of cases. Let's start at the obvious question. Why would you take your bike when there's so many rental options? Well, years ago, my wife and I went to Mallorca and we rented some bikes. It was pretty cool. The shop brought the bikes directly to us at the hotel. They set them up to the fit numbers we had given them, and we got to try out some snazzy bikes that were very different than our own at home. Plus, we could travel really light. However, at about 70 euros per day per bike, the cost added up. The fit wasn't great, the brakes were set up backwards, and my wife's bike was the smallest one available, but it was still too big for her. For our next trip, I asked if she wanted to rent again, and she looked at me and said, "There's no way I'm riding that plastic piece of shit again." If you think my opinions are unfiltered, you need to spend a little time with her. Your own bike fits you. Maybe you're super tall, or maybe you're super not tall, or maybe you're just super fussy. If you're a mammal, you're probably fussy. Your bike has your saddle, your bars, your pedals, your shifting, everything that you're used to, so you might as well take it. Airline fees have changed, so most of the US domestic airlines don't charge a specific bike fee, just an overweight fee, usually for anything above 50 pounds. But in some cases, like for some international travel, it can be up to 70 pounds. And if you have status, you might not even pay for overweight bags. So let's talk about travel cases. The way I see it, there are about 4 or so distinct form factors of cases, and each has its own pluses and minuses. First, there's the large soft-sided cases such as Evoque and Chicon. These often require less unbuilding and building of the bike. They pack pretty easily, which can be a plus for internally routed headsets where removing the bars and the stems could just suck out loud. Also, if you're less mechanically inclined, these cases are pretty fast and easy to pack. This is a Buxom box. They're large, heavy, unwieldy, but if you really want to make a statement with a bike case, this is it. Nice and loud when you roll it over things. They're relatively easy to pack, and the newer versions have a little bit more space, and in some cases you can leave your handlebars on. You can also put the bike up onto the case itself as a workstand. This is another type of hard shell case. This one is made by Surfos, but there are many others like it on the market, and they're pretty easy to find used. The bike lays into it like this, sort of in a sandwich, with one wheel underneath this layer and another layer of foam, and then another wheel on top. With modern mountain bikes, especially with the wider rear triangle, sometimes it can be hard to fit them in. Generally though, it's a pretty good case. If I was actually traveling and this was packed for real, all of these parts would be tied together so that nothing could rattle loose while it was traveling. Once this is all assembled, it's pretty good sized. And 2 of them can really eat up the back of a rental car. Okay, so what are the benefits of these larger size cases? Basically, it's how much disassembly is needed. For the most part, you're taking fewer bits and pieces off of the bike. The obvious downside is the size. These can be a challenge moving them around. Let's be realistic, once you check them in at the airport, they're no longer your problem, they're mine. And you don't have to worry about it till the end of the journey. But While it's in the airport, it's a definite size challenge for those of us that work there. Depending on the airplane, the doors into the cargo hold, called the pit, are pretty small. You have to crawl on your knees to get inside of most of them. To put the bags inside, we use a belt loader. It's a portable conveyor belt that we drive up to the airplane. Cases like these will always go up on their sides, partly for stability and partly because the doors are often wider than they are tall. The sill to the door can be anywhere from 4 feet to 8 feet off the ground, and if there's snow and ice on the belt itself, it can get very slick. While the bike may be packed really well and protected inside the pit, if it falls off the belt, that's a different story. On my own hardshell cases, I use strips of grip tape, like the type that you use for stair treads, and I put it on the sides of the case, and that helps it stick to the belt much better in bad weather. So, with these, size can be an issue, both pro and con. When you select a case, you need to give some thought on how you'll get from the airport to your hotel. You might need to rent a large station wagon, a van, or an SUV, or you might have to just sit and wait until a van taxi comes along. It might not fit in tiny elevators, and I've stayed in hotel rooms that were barely twice the size of a single mattress. Some larger soft-sided cases will collapse and roll up, but the rigid ones definitely do not. The next type is a medium-sized soft side. Common versions are EEP, Oru-case, Ritchie, Post-Carry, and there are a couple of more, but those are the most well-known. These are smaller, but with the exception of the EEP, usually mean taking the fork off, so that means more disassembly. You'll have to remove the stem from the steerer tube and keep all the headset parts together, and if your bike is internally routed, well, that could be a deal breaker. This is the EEP case, made by Pika Packworks. These are pretty easy to pack and don't require a lot of disassembly. Size-wise, they fit between a full-size case and a smaller case like an Oru case. They're lightweight, about 12 pounds empty, so it's pretty easy to keep them under 50 pounds. They're easy to carry, and they can be compressed fairly well inside the back of a car. In the category of even smaller soft-sided cases, such as Oru case, Post-Carry, or this one, which I designed and had made locally in 2016, they're easy to pack the bike into, but you're probably going to have to take the fork off of it in order to get everything in. Then the wheels slide in on the outside, and they act as sort of a protective layer because it's pretty easy to replace broken or bent spokes if you have to. The nice thing about these, they're pretty lightweight. This one's 8 or 9 pounds empty, and they're not huge. Here we have a co-motion co-pilot case for coupled bikes. These are sort of between a soft-sided and hard-sided case where they have sheets of plastic inside of fabric sides. They're a little bit flexible so you can fit a larger tire inside without a whole lot of deflation. They also have a telescoping handle and integrated wheels, so they're pretty easy to move around. They're relatively light and they're fairly easy to pack for a coupled bike. They will also, if you have a matching set, the straps and buckles are paired so you can put 2 of them together if you're traveling with a coupled tandem. And now it's time to talk about the smallest form factor of hardshell travel cases. This is for coupled bikes, the type that the frame comes apart into 2 or more pieces for more compact travel. This particular case is about 28 inches square and 11 inches deep. It's a clamshell wheel case made by Try All 3 Sports. I've done some modifications inside. I've added these aluminum extrusions to straighten and stiffen the case. I've added these pins for easy alignment with the lid for when TSA goes to reassemble it. And I've added this net inside. Once I place the bike inside and all its parts, this net closes up over the top and holds everything together. Another thing this case has, it has these built-in casters here, which makes it easy to roll around for short distances. But for longer distances, I've added these swivel casters that can easily be removed before I check it. I can tell you firsthand that as a baggage handler, I'm not afraid to pick up a case by the wheel, and sometimes they can get broken that way. Another thing about this case, I've placed this protective case for rotors inside the lid. Since it's in the lid, before I go to close it, I know to look here to make sure that I haven't left them on a tabletop or on the side of the bed. This case is large enough I can drop a 700C by 2-inch wheel directly inside without deflating the tire. Another note is you don't really need to deflate your tires before you fly unless you need to just make it smaller to fit in the case. The holds are pressurized, so the tires are not going to explode. Let's assume you've now decided on a case and it's time for you to pack it. For this video, we'll skip the tools since that's a whole other science. Check out my other videos for the tools and for the clothing packing information. The first thing to do is thoroughly clean your bike and check it over. You want this thing to be showroom clean before you leave, and it makes it a lot easier to pack and unpack and rebuild. Check your chain for wear, check your brake pads, and if you haven't serviced your brakes for a while, cleaning and lubing the pistons is a good call. Check your brake lines for abrasion, check your cables, bar tape, seat post clamp, everything. If the bike is perfect when you pack it, you make your trip much, much better because you eliminate chances of mechanical problems on arrival. And there may not be a shop available when you get there. To remove your pedals, put the crank arm forward. Then put the pedal wrench either on the flats on the spindle, or if you don't have those, it's a hex key on the inboard side. Once you fit that in, you simply turn the wrench afterwards and break the pedal loose. Now, if you've done it properly, your hand will slip and you'll smash your knuckles on the chainring, and that'll rip through your flesh beautifully. Then you go to the doctor and you get a tetanus shot. Then you go find some duct tape, put it all around your hand, and that'll provide padding for the next time. Or just put the chain on the big ring and that will protect you. This is a locking headset spacer. If you prefer to remove your bars at the stem, these will keep your headset preload just right. When you pack your bike in your case, you should definitely remove your derailleur. But if you're going to do that, you might as well remove the derailleur hanger. So here, there's a screw that holds the hanger on. If I remove this from my frame, it can't possibly get bent even without a derailleur on it. Most frames will have 1 or 2 screws like this, usually on the inside. Take them off, set them back into the frame, and then pack up your derailleur. As you're packing the bike and taking things off, it's really handy to use like a bag of this type, like these old Thompson ones that used to come with stems and seat posts. Or my bikes, I use top tube bags when I travel, and I like to put things inside of them. They're really handy and it's easy to do. They'll hold a lot of things. I can put that pack wrench in there, and then on this side, there's plenty of room for derailleurs, pedals, through axles, and everything else that you can possibly fit in there. Once it's in and totally stuffed, it's pretty heavy, so you want to strap that to the frame so it's not going to move around and become a missile inside the bag. Even hard shell cases can get compressed. They're going to go in the bottom of the pit, and they're going to have lots of bags stacked on top of them. You can order these from tiecycles.com. I think there's some other places to get it. It's just a simple plastic cap that fits onto 1/2-inch PVC. This then goes inside the case, and it's a really good solid stiffener. It's inexpensive. Here's another handy tip. While it may seem like a cool idea to cover your workbench in your sticker collection over the course of years and years and years, it can make it really hard to find things when you're trying to use it as a workbench, like this black bolt. Regardless of the bike and case that you're using, you should cover the frame. You can use inexpensive pipe insulation like this. You can get it at any hardware store, and you can put it around the frame tubes and cut it and trim it, and even maybe put some tape or some bungee cords around it. Or you can get these strips, which are made of a foam and Velcro type system, and they go around the frame like this. You cut them custom to each size. They're good for scratch protection. Tiecycles.com carries them in a variety of several widths, but make sure you get one that's wider than you think. I have no affiliation with them, but that's where I buy mine. Buy them directly from the website. Don't buy them from eBay. You'll get better selection and better pricing. Let's talk a little bit about rotors. Some people say that you can leave these on the wheels in your travel case. These are the same type of people that need instructions on a bottle of shampoo. Take them off if you don't want them to get bent. Anything can happen in the case, from the case getting squished or things moving around inside. I made little envelopes out of foam and a little bit of glue, slide them inside, they're in good shape. The other thing you can do is from CMH Printed Designs, you can buy these hard shell, clamshell style rotor cases like this. I have these and I bolted them inside the lid of my hard shell cases so that I drop the rotor in, I spin the lid closed, and that travels inside there and I don't forget about it. As I'm packing, when it's time to pack the handlebars, I take a piece of foam like this, which I've cut and trimmed. This is just some packing foam from a computer or a printer or something like that. And I cut it so that it slides right in here and protects the entire lever, and it protects the hood, and it keeps the lever from being squeezed. And then I take and I put a old sock over the whole thing. That'll keep the bar tape from being scratched and scuffed, keeps the hood clean, and keeps this thing in place. One of the big challenges about traveling with a disc brake bike is, what do I do with all these hoses? Well, fortunately, there's a couple solutions. Xeno couplers can be cut into the hose, or hoses can be purchased with them crimped on, and you simply install them. This is an older pair of formulas that are no longer in production, but they all work pretty much the same. It looks just like a little air compressor fitting, and it goes like this. You can make and break them about a half a dozen times before you need to bleed. If you have cable actuated brakes and shifters, these work very well. You end up with 2 or 4 of them on the bike, depending on your configuration. You drop a cable into here, that goes out that way, and then you trim and screw down onto the other end here. And this makes it a very, very easy way to break your cables and disassemble the bike. As you're packing your bike in the case, there are sharp and pointy bits on it that can scratch other stuff in the case, which you probably don't want to have happen. The odds that you're going to actually bend a tooth on a chainring or a cassette are pretty slim. But if you use Kydex, which is a heat moldable sheet ABS type of plastic, use a heat gun to heat it up and form it. You can make covers that go like that protect both the crank and the stuff around it. You can make a little shell that goes right on top of the cassette. And you can even make covers that protect your saddle, because you don't want to scuff up that nice leather saddle.
Oh yeah, like that. Good. Hold that. Turn left. Blue steel.
Most important thing you can do is take pictures of your packing job so you can repeat it later. Let's take a minute and talk about suitcase hygiene. These little barcode stickers should be removed after your flight. We don't want to leave too many of them on your case because we don't want all the barcode scanners in the system to get confused. These are not a souvenir. It's not like the old days when you used to keep all of those ski tickets on your zipper. I can't stress this enough. Don't try packing your bike for the first time the night before you leave for your trip. Practice, practice, practice. Make sure you're happy with the way the bike is in there. It's your bike and you don't want any damage to happen to it. So take your time, be careful, and document your steps. Now, another thing to keep in mind is the TSA. These cases are all bigger than most of the X-ray machines, so they'll be opened and searched by hand. They're looking for CO2 cartridges and other stuff like that, but mostly for anything that looks like a bomb. They'll do it quickly, a couple of minutes at most, and then they'll close it up. So when you pack, make sure it goes together easily and don't overpack. I saw a bike case that was ridiculously stuffed. The TSA agent pulled out a big stainless dog bowl, a whiteboard, beach towels, and more. She couldn't get it closed and she was getting furious and frustrated. It was threatening to delay the departure, and we almost went to get the passenger off the plane to pack it. I'm pretty sure she jumped up and down to get that thing closed. So don't be that guy. Don't overpack your case. That's about it for this video. It's a long one, and if you made it all the way to the end, I'm proud of you. Check the other videos that I've posted for what kit to take and what tools to take along to make sure your bike trip goes really smoothly and it ends up not sucking. If you liked what you saw, please click like and follow below and look for our other stuff. You can also check out mammalmusings.com for even more information and tips and travel notes and all sorts of things like that. So, thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.